always confused about when it's going to actually click over or not. So as you can all see here, we have Andy, the maker of noises, also known as the Mouthy Maven, also known as every voice ever,
Hello, everybody.
or at least we try to make her the every voice ever. We're working on it slowly.
Thank you. Thank you.
But we are here for the February live chat. We are, like I said, blessed to have Andy with us. So I'm sure we will have lots of comments and questions for Andy, and that's fine. It's less that I have to do then, which I'm fully on board with because these things drain all my mental spoons as it is. But I have to give back to the people who make the fact that I don't have to work for anybody other than the one asshole that I work for, namely me. And you know, I figure I got to do something since they were nice enough to get me away from the complete idiots that I probably shouldn't say that. The people that I used to work with, and only now I have me that I work for, and then I have delightful people that I work with, like Andy, one of the most delightful, but not
Sorry.
the only delightful person.
Thank you. You're
Uh,
rather delightful yourself, sir.
as you can tell, Andy's on drugs tonight.
Okay. Not anymore, at least. It's a prep day.
It's 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 a prep day. It's fine,
Yeah,
man.
it's
Hey, bring me
fine.
some more brownies. So, let's go. I'm gonna go ahead and do a quick recap of things for the stream. We just published last week, Aether's Revival 8: Proven Strength. Um, it did what Aether's does when it comes out. It came out really strong. I think I hit as low as 45 in the Kindle store briefly. It is now in that like just the 100 to 200 range, which is fairly good for a week out. Um, I normally have no fears when Aethers comes out outside of Imposter Syndrome, which me and Andy can talk about in a little while because we both suffer from this still. It doesn't matter how long we do this, I'm sure we will both still suffer from this. Next, coming up, as you can see down there on the scroll, is Heavenly Chaos is the name of the book. It is also the name of the series. I've made sure to name the first book of a series the same as the series name to stop the confusions of binding words, sometimes being called Morgan's Bidding, or Aether's Revival, sometimes being called Aether's Blessing. If the first book and the series coincide, hopefully I can cut some of the confusion off later when people are wondering what series people are talking about when they use the abbreviations. That is a mental health focused series. It is a futuristic cultivation. I'm not sure what else I can really say about it without giving it away. The first chapter is up for everyone on Patreon. Anybody don't have to don't have to be a subscriber or a follower on Patreon to see the first chapter, but if you do, then you will start getting the preview chapters until the book publishes. And then right after that, we will be rolling into Antecedents Legacy 3, Terran Tactics. For those people who have been hoping to actually see combat with the bugs, good news for you. Um, on the audio front, Binding Words 11 just came out. I am wearing my Binding Word shirt. Andy is wearing hers, as best you can see there because of camera angles.
Cameras are hard.
Um, we will probably be delving into the series of Binding Words again. So if you have not finished listening to it yet, I apologize. You should do so. And that takes away one of her best features, her face.
Oh, come on. You can take this seriously. This is a great way to give an interview.
I mean,
Tired
actually,
face.
that I would I would feel way more comfortable if I can do that and get away with it myself.
Turtle, turtle.
But I'm a turtle. I like turtles. Um, but Binding Words 11 just came out for audio. I think me and Andy are very happy with that. We fixed the two little hiccups that I was told about from my fans on
Yeah,
chapters
thanks for the heads up on
19
that,
and
guys.
39. We have gotten those re uploaded. So if you did have that problem before, you need to take it off or to not don't return it. Just undownload it and then re-download it, and it should re-download the correct files for you at that point.
I will say if you haven't gotten to those parts yet, they're just blips. They're not like
There, yeah, there.
earth-shattering things, but they are
It
noticeable. You miss a couple
it's
words.
I think it's a word and like a word and a half that are
Yeah, it's
missing.
not yeah.
So
It's
it's
not
not terrible,
catastrophic,
but
but it is a thing, so
it is noticeable. It might drag you out of the book, which is why I was told about it.
yep.
Um, and then we will talk about the fact that Andy just finished up Lux Voice 7, uh, Rail Laid Plans, yesterday. It was yesterday.
I think it was yesterday.
Yes, it was yesterday.
Time is a
You did,
construct.
you everything's a construct for me right now. So that is off with her audio engineer, and then when the audio engineer finishes it, I will get it. My audio proofer will go through it. Andy will correct things, and then we'll hand that over to ACX. Now, good news is ACX of late has kicked my books out within about 24 hours. Um, I think Binding Words actually ran to like 36, and I was concerned it was going to be one of those, hey, we're going to hold this for 10 months. But no, they got it out within 2 days. So as soon as we get everything done, you're probably looking sometime in March, guys, for Lux Voice 7, barring ACX and Audible being a dick about it.
Yeah.
And then I know at the moment you are rolling into the
Tower
Tower of
of
Somnus
Somnus.
4.
Yeah. Tower of Somnus 4, which is the beginning of the second trilogy. There's like a time jump. And then we go on to Aether's Revival. So it'll be Tower of Somnus, then Aether's Revival. Then I'm on to Wandering In.
Which Wandering In is that?
13? 13. Yes, 13.
Wandering In 13, The Search for More Food.
It's
It's an inn. People get hungry. I mean, what do you want?
Ooh, there's a great anime on Netflix called Delicious in Dungeon. If you haven't seen it, it's totally worth it. You have to watch it as it comes out, though. It like airs, I think it's Tuesdays. They put the new episodes up or something or other. I'm a binger, so that annoyed me, but
Yes.
it's
Well, me and Sean get
good.
together and we do anime once a week, and we're currently going through, I think, solo leveling because they
Oh, yeah,
made
I've
the
heard about
anime
that
for
one.
they made well it's been a book forever. They made the anime on it because it's lit RPG esque
Yeah.
because it's got stats and he goes up. So the anime is good. The book of course is better. That's always going to be the case when you have a book that
Yeah.
comes out normally. Um, but we get together, so I'll just need to have you remind me or have you message me the name of that anime so I can add it to the list of things to watch with him because we get through like 3 episodes a day. So we have like we have 3 anime that we watch an episode each of, and then next week we get the next episodes of them.
Yep.
It is what it is. We still have a backlog of ones to get to, but
Yeah,
man, we
that's
get to
that's the thing.
it.
There's like so many. There's so many. And I
Yeah,
I
but
only
you have
scratched
to
the surface with like pop anime. Like I just
you-
watched the
but
basics.
but to say you gotta sift through them though. I can't count the number of times we've gotten halfway through an episode one and just been like, nah, nah, that's
Yeah.
fine. Let's go. It's
Yeah.
not the main character isn't redeeming. The plot line sucks. Something. Just
Yeah.
we'll go to something else.
Delicious
Um,
in Dungeon has a little bit of a problem right in the first episode. You can tell it was trying to find itself right at the beginning, but it goes in a really cool direction of just figuring out weird crap to eat in a dungeon that's not like the standard stuff you'd think of, and it's really funny. There's a whole thing with animated armor. It's weird. It's a weird show.
Sounds interesting. Food stuff though. At the moment, Dakota's got his food apocalypse series that came out that I've been enjoying. So
Ooh.
I can't remember the name of it. It is somebody here. Somebody here will know and help. I know that. But it's a Dakota book, so therefore it is worth time. It was Sewer Skewers is book 2, but I don't remember the name of book 1 or the name of the series because I suck at this kind of thing.
Oh
Don't
yeah.
ask. This is why I have spreadsheets for names and I still get them wrong. I misnamed somebody in Aether's. I think it was 3 times through the book. Cernia has the updated copy for you. And one of my red shirts that became a reappearing occurrence.
Uh-huh.
His his name got
Uh-huh.
wrong
Uh-huh. So what you're
wronged
saying is your
3 times.
decisions came back to haunt you. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that I am a terrible person and don't even know how to use a spreadsheet correctly.
This was a joke while we were recording Lux voice again because there was 2 Ernsts and then there was 2 oh crap, what was it? Orville
Yeah, it
Simpson?
was Orville.
Yeah, Orville Simpson. There was 2 Orvilles, and one was saved as Orville, and the other one was saved as Simpson, and I can confuse the living piss out of me trying to find that character for, like, 10 minutes. I was just so lost, and so by the end of it, I'm just, "Damn it, Daniel, why are there 2 Orvilles?"
Because
Because there's so many, they're going to repeat, Andy, it's fine. One was a first name, one was a last name, you'll be fine with it. It's the case with Ernst, too. One was a first name, one was a last name, so it worked out.
meh. Context. So it was last time on the live chat. I had a comment based upon the question first time. What I have that is wow. You mentioned your mom fights to get Daniel's books. Now in my head, whenever Daniel says it's going off to the editor, all I can see is an older version of you putting a younger woman into some WWE submission hold.
I mean, it's not 100% impossible, but it would be hilarious.
I mean, to be
My
fair, I've
mom's
met
very
her mom.
passive.
I could totally see her mom just grabbing someone by the scruff of the neck and just beating them in the face repeatedly.
Not at all. My
I
mom's the
mean,
most non-violent person in the world. She will talk you down, but she isn't really a hitter. She's not. That's that's my dad and I was purview. My sister and mom were the other side of it. They were the
to, to
compassionate ones.
to be fair, Dame, Ryan was watercolor before he was Ryan, and then Ryan was there before watercolor ever showed up. And that was me just going, I need a first name for him, and not thinking about the fact that I had Ryan already. So
I'm pretty sure he did the fairies on purpose. I'm pretty
the
sure Ven
fairy,
and
the
Venton were on
fairies,
purpose.
the fairies are 100% on purpose.
Yeah.
Ven and Ven were
And
intentional. They were the only two that overlapped that much. Everyone
yeah.
else was Onan and Omen, you know,
Yep.
Pomp and Pamp, Andy's favorites.
Those are my favorites. I named Pomp
She
because I
did in
liked his little
fact
fancy
name Pomp.
buttons.
And the series by Dakota is Cooking with Disaster is
Oh, there
the
we go.
series. It was a series. It's a series he just put out, and he put out one book in January. The other one just came out in February, and the next one comes out in March. It was just quick out releases, and you know what? I like them, but then again, I like food, so maybe there's a reason there. Just saying, tomato and tomato. No, I wouldn't do that to her.
I
She
would
just
get to
go, it's
choose who was
tomato.
talking every time.
I'd have to make them identical twins with identical voices, just to have them pull off the no, I'm tomato, not tomato.
Yeah, just repeat it every time, and I just get to pick which one's which every single time because it doesn't matter. They have the same exact voice anyway.
This is what you get, guys. So Doc unexpectedly moved the timeline on you. That wasn't so much Doc unexpectedly moving the timeline on me. That was unintended consequences. Not as bad as Sean deciding to life bond the entire staff, but unintended consequences. When you make people clerics of big family-based tribes and clans, and then send them home for people who've been waiting forever for a voice to come back, belief is going to skyrocket. The effects of what was going to happen were always going to the storyline roughly stayed the same. The biggest difference was Doc's ability to pick up powers ran ahead of where things probably should have been. The story stayed the same, which means that instead of Doc being shot in the shoulder in the book, he gets shot somewhere else. And I'm not saying anymore because the audio hasn't come out yet, and spoilers. And without those gifts, it's a vastly different thing then. I am currently just started writing in on Lux Voice 8 though, so it was fun flopping back and forth between actually doing wordy words and listening to Andy finish off the series at the same time.
That was a cool sync up.
So I've finally gotten ahead of my editors for once. I'm not sure how long I'll stay here, but hey, I shall cherish the moment I have.
Yeah, you scared the crap out of me with Luck's voice because Doc kept talking about heading off to like going to see people in other continents and shit. And I'm just sitting there going, what do you mean you're going to see people in other continents, Doc? What do you mean? What do you mean you're going to separate from some people and go visit other people in a whole other two continents? Doc, what is Daniel? What are you doing?
Hey, I tried to warn you to bone up on your voices. I mean, I gave you
Oh,
lots of warning. If you're not going to take the friendly warnings I give you, Andy, I can't help you. Andy, I'm just saying.
there's already like 450 voices in that series, so the idea of introducing a whole other two continents, I was just like, oh no. Oh no, he's gonna go visit so many people. Oh yay. Yeah, so you scared the crap out of me with that. So thank you for that. Much appreciated.
I'm glad I clarified that for you. I don't think there was too much power creep. Like I said, it's just a matter of fact of once again unintended consequences. He has the powers he has at this point. There are a couple of more minor ones that he'll reference at the beginning of book 8, but I don't think it's been so much it had what definitely wasn't a power creep. It was a power lunge, honestly.
You know what,
That's
Eric?
what
Eric called
happens.
it like a it had the same curve as like a clicker game. Eric compared it to that, and I think that was actually kind of accurate, like an idle game where it's
Hmm.
Doc's not having to do stuff all the time for his faith to grow exponentially.
Not
So
more.
he can he doesn't have to click himself anymore. So it's like if you've ever played one of those idle games, you start out you're barely earning pennies and then you wake up and you're in scientific numbers. You know, it's like 1 EQ 10 4 6 5. It's beyond quadrillions and numbers that I don't understand fully. So it's one of those weird things where it's a growth thing. It's exponential. So it actually makes a weird amount of sense. It's not as much an RPG crawl of power. It's more of like an idle crawl because you have stuff happening exponentially in the background. Makes a
Yeah,
weird amount of sense.
that was the thing. I mean, when you send the dwarf and elf back to their homeland and they've been waiting and waiting and waiting for a voice to come back, it was going to happen, and it didn't dawn on me until I sat down to write book 7 and I had read through book 6 again, and I went, "Oh, yeah, that's gonna jump. I can't not make that jump. That has to jump. If they get back to their homelands and all of a sudden it's been like, yep, he's getting 500 power, and even though Svetlana made it and talked to the Tsar himself, makes no sense. So
Yeah.
instead of having that make no sense, it made more sense to just let him pick up abilities he was always planning on picking up just a lot sooner. So it is a thing. But yes, I will go ahead and say that there is no visiting of Zaros and Chin for those people who were hoping to see that. Luck's voice to me was always a Western-based story, so there is a time jump that gets referenced right at the start of book 8, where he is coming back to Emerita. So I do apologize to people if they feel cheated out of that, but honestly, there wasn't going to be enough story there because the church doesn't have enough hold on those countries to make anything uh, problematic. Not like trying to take over half a country.
Yeah, I can see that. It would have been a lot more systematic of just following Doc around as he talks to
Mhm.
people. And
It would have
unless you
been
just manufactured a bunch of stuff to happen internally or something, it would just be basic him just going person to person
it
or
would have been a lot of it would have been a lot of repeated conversations. He would have
yeah.
gone and met the czar and been feasted by the dwarven clans, and held up as the voice of luck, and this great thing, and he would have gone down to Chin to see the tribes down there, and once again it would have been relatively the same thing. There are like 2 3 key moments that would have had screen time, but it wasn't enough for an entire book, so they get referenced at the start of book 8.
Too
I ju-
Tall Trucker is worried. These aren't spoilers. These are things that aren't in the book, just so you know. Like it's just generic conversation. Don't worry. It's not any specific spoilers
I'm
about anything
I'm
really.
I am holding spoilers back while being as vague as I possibly can.
Yeah.
So, what is I answered that one. Hang on. Oh, okay, it's fine. Love how true to character everyone is in your stories. I see it more and more. The characters written around plots. I hate it when a character does something plot based. When it is like he's the main character. He's smart. He plans. He's repeatedly said he's not irrational. And he's proven the fact that he can hold his emotions back, and then for whatever reason he just goes, you know what? I'm gonna walk outside without pants today. Nothing bad will happen with that. I won't go to jail for being indecent in public. It'll be fine. Wait, what? So I do hate it when a plot point forces the character to do something out of quote unquote character. There are times where that can work if it is an emotional based response. Sean killing somebody when his wives die. It's going to happen if it's then in the moment. But if he's slept and had time to think, that's not who Sean is. If Sean had woken up after, say, Binding Word 6, when they go to the funerals for his two dead wives and whatnot, if at that point he just walked into the Lord True Strikes manor and slaughtered the man, totally out of character. That is not who he had shown himself to be to that point. So I tried to, like I said, once again, guys, I don't plot. I plot this the beginning of my story. This is the end of my story. Here are some nice things I would like to see. And then I sit back and go, what are you doing? Tell me what happens next. And I just listen to my characters, which is why I don't always catch things like Sean going, I'm going to life on the staff. What?
Naughty Sean.
You're gonna what?
All of them? Every single
Yeah,
one of
all
them?
of them. You're 20 some odd wives now, huh, Sean? 20. I remember you bulking when it was just Fiona and Mina, buddy. What's going on here?
Yep.
Did you get a little scratch and you're like, it's nice. I want to scratch a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Naughty Sean.
sometimes characters do something stupid and it's fine. Fine. Fiona knew exactly what she was doing and blamed Mina
100% Fiona.
100%. That
they were behind that 100%. Those little naughty minxes.
but that is if within my power, and I do have a lot of power because if I hadn't published that book and I had caught it before I'd published that book, I would have went, Sean, no, let's pull this back and think about this again, buddy. Let's pull this back just a little bit. Consider it again. So I am being a lot more careful about the relationships. AR's wives for the entire series are known by me when I started the series. So those were set in stone. There aren't going to be extras. I am not going to end up with a staff situation again. And if there's anyone here who's been like, yeah, he's totally going to make Elsa a wife, just stop. Just stop.
Get help.
That'd be like Doc making Posey a wife. Just
go get help. Get out. That's not okay. That is a child.
So just no. They are considered daughters by those two main characters, and that is where they will stay. Just because every once in a while I get somebody who says something like that, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah. I've heard it too. It'll pop up every once in a while. Like somebody will be like, I wish that Elsa will be a wife. And I'm like, no.
No. That's
No.
not who she is.
Absolutely not. She is a literal child. No. It just, I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it's a sentimental thing, but at the same time, stop. Get some help.
Candy. Too Tall had something to say to you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I have a couple new ones for Binding Words, or not Binding Words,
Lux Voice.
Lux Voice, sorry.
I'm looking forward to hearing them because I only caught the edge of one day, so
yeah, they're just silly ones.
I look forward to them when you get around to chopping them down and putting them into a file.
Yeah, they're a little long right now. They're like 6 minutes long for just like 3 or 4 of them, so I gotta cut them down a little bit. Sometimes they need context, but that
Yeah,
was the last
a
batch
little
of
co-
bloopers needed
a,
context.
a little bit of context is fine. So I
Not the
understand.
whole story. Not the whole
No,
story, though. We don't
you
need
need to
3 minutes of setup.
you need to know why Elsa's shit in the eggs.
Yes, exactly that.
You have to know why she goes off on a rant every time someone tells her you got to work hard, Elsa.
Yep. Yep. Or has mixed feelings about skirts.
Helga going
Yep.
going
Yep.
going to battle with Camel Toe.
Helga going off about people who wear skirts. Yep.
She's not the
Weak.
real warrior.
She's not a real warrior. How are you supposed to fight in battle? What, when you fear Camel Toe, how can you not fear an enemy?
Yep.
Versus Elsa.
I think Greg never confronted Jen about her fun new nickname. No, he had not told her that she is known through in Kroga as the Tiny Terror. But honestly, she would know at that point. He is the last one getting to that posting, so he, to me that's one of those. Hey, I heard about your battles while you were out, and she goes, yeah. It's if you know the characters, you know how that conversation is going to play out. So, uh, bu- bu- bu. There you go, Andy.
Go fuck yourself.
Actually, you
Russian
do.
is not bad. I can do Russian pretty okay. It's not bad. It's not great. It's not bad. But no, we're not doing Chinese accent.
I was about to say that you do have some Russians right near the end of Lux Boy 7 because you have
Yep.
the ship crew.
Duh. We have the Russian dwarves at the end. They are the Tsarist dwarves.
Let's see. No argument about it. Use the term power creep for any story where it increases power and those will start to move the plot around. Yeah, like I said, the only part of the plot that had advanced quicker was Doc getting the powers slightly faster. He would still have had those powers by the time book 8 rolled around. He just had them like early book 7 instead. So it wasn't as bad as you might think. It just came a little bit sooner, but not like terribly sooner. Deus Ex author, which is anytime a character clearly does something that the author needs to do for the plot they are forcing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's just that's that's a pet peeve of any book that I read. So I try not to do that. But it's easy for me not to do that because I just listen to my characters and I'm just like, okay, you're doing what? So I don't try to force them into something, which helps out a lot in my opinion. Well, for me at least.
Oh, it's a special endearing relationship we have now. I am
You have
genuinely sorry if
something.
you are actually offended by that though. Like I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I mean it with all love.
So hey, let's I answer the questions. There will be more that pop up. I just want to kick back for a minute, Andy. It's been over 5 years, 11 books, Binding Words. You were with me the entire way for this series. It's our first completed series together.
It is. It's kind of
That's
awesome.
that is something. I know that you had to go back and pull voices from book 1 not too long ago.
Yep.
How was that?
Yep.
How was that for you?
That was rough. That was really rough because that's like I've had almost a year of Scottish accent lessons and stuff, and I've had to keep matching old characters, but sometimes there's like, yeah, Durog was rough, man. Like there were some issues with that voice. Like characters like that. Like that was a really early book for me. So going back and pulling characters from book 1 of Binding Words is very humbling. Which is very humbling. It's like, oh man. I like, and everyone will be really supportive in chat. You know, everyone's really sweet and they're like, but we love it and it's great. I don't know what your problem is. And I'm like, because I hear it, because I know what's wrong with it. It bothers me. It sounds
But
forced.
did you know at the time?
No,
That was the best
I
you could do
always
at the
yeah.
time.
Huh?
That was the best you could do at the time.
100%. Yep.
So you have given 100%. So you can see the difference of this be your career in just finding words from book 1 to book 11, just from sheer ability, I guess. Or is it more diversifying of toolbox?
I think it's a combination. It's like becoming a better writer or anything else. It's everything. It's reading, intaking, watching, reading books on writing or not, or revisiting your process or editing or looking at your own stuff, listening to your own stuff with a critical ear, like getting for me it's getting outside help and coaching and getting accent lessons and stuff like that. Like those things all add up over time as well as just lots and lots of experience because I have millions and millions of words under my belt at this point. I have something like 4 million words between today and Binding Words 2 or Binding Words 1.
Yeah.
So there's
Um,
to say I put a lot on tape since then is putting it lightly. So there's been a lot of change, a lot of growth. So it's easy to see the
there's
difference for me.
there's also, I mean, you've had a lot of life changes. Like your booth is new-ish
Mhm.
compared to 5 something years ago. Because
Yeah.
you used to have the small little claustrophobic booth
Yep.
that
Yep.
a lot of narrators still use because it's serviceable.
It is. It works
But now
very
you
well.
but now you have a home studio.
Yeah. Yeah, we built a we I say we built a we put a wall up in our house in Maine. So this is our my new studio. So I have it's all soundproofed and everything else in here which makes it I have room to move my chair around and I have room over there. Like it's just a lot more free. But that means that my sound changed. My space changed. My how I've had a new microphone, new interfaces, new equipment, like new computer. Literally everything has changed since book 1.
Mhm.
Including me.
I'm a new me.
My if you hear how I narrate from book 1, like just narration, the tone of my voice from book 1 to book 11, it's insane because anybody who listens to my earlier books hears it because I used to narrate way up here. That was where my voice was before I started narrating so many male ed books and learned to talk out of my chest for the narration. So my voice dropped over the course of the of Binding Words alone. It's kind of weird.
So what do you think of voicing James, knowing who he is based off of?
That was one of the biggest conundrums for me. He sounds nothing like you because I'm a terrible mimic. And I was like,
Well, it
okay,
was
so
never going to happen, considering you gave him a quasi voice in book 1, not knowing anything.
not knowing anything. And I was like, okay, I got to work within the parameters of what I did in book 1 so it's not completely wrong. But I can't that voice is a little forced, so let's try to do something else, and I needed something that was gonna stand up next to freaking Sean for full chapters of conversation and dialogue and stuff, so this had to be another main character type voice, so I was like, "Alright, I gotta think this through. Who can I hold that if they have to yell or argue or talk to people out or whatever the case may be, they have enough versatility and difference between them that it's gonna be able to hold up?" Because I'm not going to be able to vary my cadence and delivery enough because unfortunately I'm just not that quite that skilled to vary just on cadence and delivery. So it has to have pitch in there as well. So that was a huge debate in my head because James sounds nothing like James, but it's
It works
I did
though.
the best to do the personality.
It's 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 a good serviceable voice, and it stands up decently next to Sean. So I mean, it
Yep.
worked. You found something that works. I mean, Sean doesn't sound like Sean. You've met
Yeah.
Sean, so it was never intended to be that. It was always intended to be different, just a nod towards, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Um, but for voices though, it's the slow drift of Mina
Oh
from
god,
book
Mina's
1
yeah.
through the
Mina has one of the biggest drifts.
but it's slight from book to book to book.
Mhm.
So even if you go back and you listen from start to finish, you can hear it, but it's not jarring at any one point.
No, it's only if you go, like, book 1 to book 6, then it's
Yeah,
like,
that's
"Ooh,
that's
oof."
that's that's noticeable.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bad. But the other one that has that is Rosa. Rosa's like that too, because book 1 Rosa is, "He has elfen blood." It was this weird, like, very difficult to hold, like, that accent was just so flattened out, I couldn't hold it right. So it became that over time with, like, weird overpronounced vowels and stuff. Like, it kept the same flavor, the same pitch, the same tone, but it doesn't match those first lines from Rosa. So,
Yeah, but it works because once again, it's close enough that
yeah,
it's not going to jar you out of whatever.
yeah,
How many more
that's the
dryads
goal.
can you do? Just, just so I know off the top of my head.
If you really wanna know, I can probably do comfortably about continuously talking to each other, maybe 4 more that could talk
Outs
to each other. If you
uh,
get
uh,
past 4 and have them talk to each other, my head'll explode, but
outside of the ones that you've already had talk.
yeah, yeah, I've got
Okay.
about 4 more pitches that I can do. We don't have a Jennifer Coolidge dryad yet.
I got I at the moment I have had
Yes,
one more add
Elfenblood.
in. So
Yeah, we can do a few more. That's okay.
I have at the moment I have only one more who's added in, and she's not a dock dryad. She's dryad adjacent, which will come people will understand when I
Fair,
get the book.
fair.
I'm still writing it, so deal with it, people. So let's talk about Binding Word some more, though. Like I said, 11 books, 5.5 years, I think it was, to get through it all. There have to be moments that you've enjoyed out of the series.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There's been so many of them. Sean's first inventions are some of my favorites because I really like crafters and crafting books. So, those moments of discovery and invention and kind of that conquering rush of finally figuring it out, I love those moments in, like, crafter books or crafting stories. That moment makes me so happy. So, those are some of my favorite moments. Um the dates with the staff, I really liked. I thought that was really, really sweet. And the some of the first moments with Sean and Fiona and Mina in the first book where we're getting to actually know Sean and Fiona and stuff, I love those moments. There's a lot of them. Like, I can list a ton of them. He's planning a triad army. I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. At this point, I'm not sure if he's trying to kill me or just trying to make me better. I haven't figured it out yet.
Both is an option.
Both?
I've always been told both is good. So
It's both. Both is good.
it's it's just from the writer standpoint, it's really odd having finished up the story. And of
I can
course,
only imagine.
since I have finished it and where I left it, I immediately got the show sequel. What, Sean, Sean deserves his rest, guys. Anytime I set down a series, I'm just like, give the main character his ride off into the sunset
Yes.
moment. He was put through fire. He overcame adversity. Let him have his thing. Now now to be fair, most of those people asking for sequels are like, it could be someone on the world that Sean, ends up
Oh, yeah, I've heard that
god
argument. Some
of.
people wanted James and stuff, yeah.
Well, no, like a villager, 200 years in the future from the
Oh,
founding of
that's
the Pantheon on the world. Since it's a lit RPG world, and it was stated
yeah,
that that is what Sean made. What about that? And I'm like, if the story comes to me, fine. But guys, I don't set out to write the stories. I just listen to the voices in my head, which would have gotten me a nice jacket and a quiet room not that long ago. Okay,
right.
so she's the maker of noises. I apparently have voices in my head. So I think I give her the noises to make, which are just the voices in my head.
Hey, talking to yourself and being talked to by yourself are really the same problem in different forms, so we're really just twin flames. It works out.
It's it's really only a problem when they never mind.
Exactly.
I promised them I wouldn't say.
You know what they'll do. Shh.
If you guys think there are problems now,
They can't know.
how many books have you recorded to this point, Andy?
I'd have to look at Audible.
Just
I
just
think it's
just a rough.
120.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
So about 120, something like that, maybe 130. I'm not sure. That counts like books that I'm voices in though too. If full narration's probably 115, 120, something like that.
Okay.
Wait, if I included outside stuff, maybe 130. I'm not sure. I really don't keep track of them in my head, and I could be like way overestimating. I'm not sure. Let me look
I
real.
had I had somebody ask me the other day how many books I had written. I was at the doctor's office. My sister does paperwork down at the doctor's, and she came out to talk to me since I was going in to do the regular checkup. And one of her coworkers stopped by, and apparently has been reading Finding Words. So chatted for. She goes, How many books have you written?" And I think it's 52 or 53 to this point. And I told her, and she was just like, "What?"
Yeah, I wildly underestimated. Yeah. Sorry, guys. I don't keep
There you go.
track. There it is. That
Somebody
does
kept track
include
of it for you.
parts, though. Yeah, that includes voice. I'm just voices in some of those. So
But just I put out like 7-ish books a year. I put out 6 or 7 books a year on average. So I mean, over 7 years, that adds up.
hmm
I'm into my 8th year. I think it's going to be 8 this year. Hang on one second. Where's October? October will tell me. Yeah, it's 8 years this year in October. So I mean, it adds up fairly quickly.
Congratulations.
And you've been along for most of that because you started voicing books for me in 20, either late 17 or early 18. And I want to say. So I'd have
Early
to go
18,
back.
because I
Yeah.
started in 17, and
Okay.
that was like my slowest year. And then I got introduced to you, I think it was February of 2018.
Yeah. That was
Or just
after
before
you
that.
did Ant Sex for
Yep.
Will,
Yep. Yeah,
because
he contacted me. He was like, a friend of mine needs a book narrated. He might be interested.
and I reached out to you at that point because I'd actually heard you do the ant sex scene because my friend Sean was listening to the audible of it when we went out to get food one day, and I was like, "What in the fud? Oh wait, I know this book. Oh wait, it's an audible. Well, she's fine with this. She'll be totally fine with my stuff."
It's 100%. It's a yeah, give it to Andy. She'll probably do it.
Give it to Andy. She'll voice almost anything.
Which makes for weird conversations now every once in a while.
My favorite story from you is still your mother screaming from across the room. He
Yep.
fucks an ant.
He fucks an ant. She was very distressed. She was very distressed. My mom is not a bug person. She does not find the antinium endearing. My mom does not like bugs in the least. Mom's like, cool, that Kilbachik guy would be cool if he wasn't a bug, All right. She just does not like bugs. So Petra was tough for her. Petra was real tough for her. She was
I
gross.
don't like bugs either, but you know what? Your Antinium are amazing. So
Aw, thank you.
Pirate wrote bugs that I might not just kill on reflex, and you voiced them well enough that I
Thank you.
probably wouldn't if I ran across them and didn't freak out too badly at any given point in time.
Thank you. They are adorable little munchkins in their own way.
Petra was a sweetheart once you
She
got
was
through
sweetheart.
that rough shell exterior.
Yeah. Yeah. She was rough. She was real rough on the outside. She's like a pineapple.
Pokey. This was up, and I just wanted to point out that Andy is awesome. We had someone join just to say that you are awesome. I mean, they say they love my books too, but let's be honest.
That was a
They're here
dual
for
thing.
you. I was just the
No,
addition. They're here
no,
for you. That's how it
No.
works, Andy.
No. Eat a dick, Shinhofen. They were here for both of us.
I mean,
Mhm.
how's Hayes doing, Andy? Now that we're since you brought up the conversation.
He is amazing. He had to wrangle Cat Manuel because I was not allowed to come downstairs without a Cat Manuel attached to my leg, apparently. So I had to hand that off to Hayes. Manny has gotten rather attached. Whereas Hayes and I almost got kicked out of the restaurant talking about some of your sounds.
That's
Yep.
Jay, of course.
That's
so
Jay.
yep.
Yep.
Hayes was mentioned, and I was like, well, jump on the train. The Hayes train is here.
So that out of context, it sounds awful because it kind of was, but it wasn't at the same time. We went to Jay and Jen are awesome. They came up to have dinner with us, or they were in the area and we had dinner. And we went to dinner at like this really cool place on like a boat and stuff. It was just really nice place. And we're all sitting in the middle, like, and being just rowdy, nonsense filled monsters, like way too rowdy for this place. And both Hayes and Jay get going on a tangent about some of the books, some of the noises I've had to make in books and joking about it. And we can slowly see the maitre d' type people, like the people in the restaurant looking over at us, just like, and we're just, we're going to get kicked out, guys. We probably shouldn't say balls that loud in the middle of a nice restaurant.
I mean, did management tell you to come over and say no?
No, that was when I was up with you guys for Dragon Con. I think there might be a theme associated with these.
Just saying, Dragon Con, when management of the hotel comes up and tells us no. I've had multiple complaints about this room.
Yeah,
guys, Dad says we have to stop. We're being too loud for Cards Against Humanity at midnight. So that is why I am more selective about the room I get nowadays, so we can do things like Cards Against Humanity and be as loud as we want and not have to worry about it. Because some things have to be done.
Cards Against Humanity at 12 a.m. is obviously mandatory. 12 to 2. If I asked before, I apologize, but I've been listening to AR and I'm in awe of your craft. Thank you. Do you go straight from voice to voice while recording, and how difficult is it to the character voice? Or do the character voices change and grow as the characters advance in age? Yes, for sure. They do grow and change as best I can. There's not usually huge time jumps that would cause somebody to like age terrifically in their voice, but sometimes there is. But do I go straight voice to voice while recording? I'd like to say that I do, but I typically don't, because I used to do that more, but I ended up with a lot more bleed between the characters than I liked. So it became easier for me to stop between the lines most of the time, but I probably should just try to get better at going between them because it'd be faster. I just get very anal retentive and don't like how long it took or how long, why you said that weird or whatever the case may be. So
that's my mother, by the way.
Hello, Daniel's mama.
That is my mother. She came and asked you a question. And actually, for characters growing and advancing in age, I mean, book 8 is a 6-year jump, so you're going to have Posey advanced, and with the way AR is going, you're going to have Elsa also having aged up. Not before we see her again, but she is going to keep aging as they advance through their years as well. So. Things for Andy to be aware of. Her cute little girls are going to grow up, and then they're going to take over the world because they're Eva overlords, according to her server canon.
Yep. Server canon is Posey is actually the leader of the darkness.
Darkness is her bitch.
She's the dark overlord. This is all a huge plot from her to take out Doc at the end and steal the crown.
At least there's somebody who comes just for my glares. I feel loved.
Solid. What conventions do I attend? Typically just Dragon Con. Conventions are so freaking dangerous for a voice actor because it's so many people. Con crud can knock me out for 2 weeks, and that's the entire recording of a book. So I have to be just so measured if I'm going to go to a con. It's a huge risk. So I typically just go to Dragon Con, and I've only just started attending Dragon Con again. Didn't for a while, and I got COVID when I went. So
I'm about to say you didn't because COVID.
Mm-hmm.
And then you went and you got COVID. So
I will say if I get COVID again, I probably won't go again. Like I just probably won't go again because it's too big of a risk. But we'll see.
Well, I mean, because that's weeks off for you while you feel like shit. It's not like you're taking weeks off and having fun.
No, I couldn't freaking move. That was the worst. I hated every second of that. Dark Lord Posey. But yeah, so cons are a risk, so I don't attend a ton of them.
I mean, that's fair. I am actually going to be attending 3 cons this year. I have Jordan Con in April, because they're just starting up a lit RPG track, and I was asked to come and be there for that because I am all about supporting the genre. Of course, I will be going to Dragon Con because that is where most of the lit RPG crowd gets together for a convention anyway. And then I will be doing the Author Nation Con, which used to be which used to be 20 books to 50K Vegas, which is going to be Author Nation in Vegas in November, which does have one day that is like a fan meet and greet day. So for those people on the West Coast who don't want to go as far to like Atlanta and pay as much, because Atlanta Dragon Con convention rates can be a little expensive, there is a chance I will be on the West Coast to be found at least once this coming year. So, and I've stated that in the blogs and stuff, but putting it out there again is never a bad thing. And Scott, I'm not answering your question, so meh. The answer is, has it been written in a book? No. Okay then. Until I write it in a book, your opinion it can stand as fact in your head. As with every question, if it's not actively written down somewhere, go ahead and make up your own canon until such time as I break it with a hammer. I think that is fair. Oh, hang on. There was a spoiler in there.
There's an interesting thing. You talked about Sean coming back for a sequel, like, and the idea of that. And it's funny to me because you hear it all the time in mainstream media series, like the big five published, like Jim Butcher and stuff, like Dresden or Drist or whatever. Drizzt has been going on for so long. Literal characters have died, resurrected, and re-died. There have been time bubbles to try to keep characters alive because there's elves and humans. It gets nonsensical. Poor Dresden has been chewed up, spit out, turned into dog food, and set on fire at this point. Like, there is a certain point where let a character ride off into the sunset. Let them be, because it starts to hurt after a while.
To be fair, Butcher has said Dresden does have an ending, and he's in like the last few books of it, so that's good because honestly, like you said, I loved Dresden, and I still enjoy it, but at the same time, how hard can you beat a man?
Yeah.
Every book to have him just scrape by a victory, and that's because Butcher has admitted he writes with the, well, what could go wrong next idea when writing. And I don't like to do that to my main characters. I want them to have good lives, which is why I write the way I do, which is why you have the slow slice of life pace that I write. So it's not always frying pan fire, bigger fire, napalm, core of the sun, black hole. What else can we do to him?
Yeah, he's like barely making it by in book 2, and then it just is harder on him from that point. The writing's phenomenal. It's absolutely engaging. It's super well written. Like, Butcher's an amazing writer. I could not get past like book 3 of Dresden because I felt so bad for Dresden. I felt so bad for him. I constantly felt bad. But Drizzt, I really like Drizzt. Like, I'm a huge fan of Salvador, and after it gets to a certain point, you can tell fans kept pushing. And he's talked about it before, that he wanted to let it go. He wanted Drizzt to retire, but it's not what happened. Couldn't happen.
Well, I stopped reading Drizzt when he kept pining after Catti-brie, even though she had already hooked up with Wulfgar. And I'm like, dude, not cool. You shouldn't be carrying the flame for your bro's wife. Besides, you knew her when she was how young?
Child.
So, especially when there are, the near immortals like him that he could have started a relationship with that showed him interest.
Mm-hmm.
So I stopped reading the series. I loved the first trilogy and like the second, and then the throwback trilogy where he leaves the Underdark, and I think the first 9, because it was the trilogy that followed, not the prequel, but should have followed Crystal Shard series. I enjoyed them all, but when he was like, still holding the torch for Catti-brie after she had already gotten married to Wulfgar, I was like, I can't. There are just some things I don't condone.
Yeah.
If Wulfgar and Catti-brie had come to Drizzt and been like, so yeah, we understand, we're totally into open relationships, this is a thing that could, but it wasn't, because it was very much the hard monogamy that is trad publishing.
Yeah.
So So no, not cool. I don't like it. Jordan Con is in Atlanta. It is not the downtown Atlanta like where um, Dragon Con is. It's like northern Atlanta, close, much closer up towards the airport area than where Dragon Con is held. But it is still Atlanta, Georgia. So, but Dresden, I mean, even though he gets more powerful, it doesn't feel like it. 'Cause every book he's just barely scraping by with
Mhm.
something.
Yeah, he has been beaten to near death in 900 different ways. Like I when I say near death, like bleeding out, 1 hit point, barely making it, still on fire. Like it is
I don't
rough.
I don't think it's 1 hit points actually. I think con saves kicked in a few times.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that is
There was
valid. Oh, I have to tell you a thing about Pal World. If you're playing Pal World right now, I just want you to do me a favor. I want you to capture a human in Pal World, and then I want you to let them loose on your encampment, and then I want you to interact with them, and I want you to say pet pal. That's all. That's what I want you to do. And when you do it, you'll understand why I asked you to. Just saying. I
I thought
discovered that today.
I thought you were gonna go for the butcher pal option.
Nope. 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 It is pet pal, and you'll understand immediately why.
You have you told Skitty this?
Not yet. I
You should
just
to
discovered it like 2 hours ago.
you need to tell
Like,
Skitty this. I won't
yes,
remember by the time live chat ends, so
yes.
but
Yes,
I know she
you pet
plays, so
pal on a human, and it's interesting very quickly. Very quickly.
I mean, it sounds like it would be, yes. I mean,
It's
it
not
is.
what you think either. It's way more blatant. It's so funny.
I'm
I'm
gonna have
torn
to ask her
between
to do
wanting
it
to
just so
tell
I can
people what it
watch.
is and making them discover it. Like, I don't wanna tell you, I don't wanna take it away from you. I
No,
want
no,
you to
that's fine.
discover it.
I'll
Yeah.
try to remember to have Sammy do it when I'm in the room so I can look over at her screen and be properly horrified.
Yep. Yep. You will laugh
I
your
was
ass off.
I'm sure I will.
Yeah.
When I found out that you could capture them and then, butcher them like you could everything else, I just went,
Yep.
that's a thing.
Yep. Somebody said you can sell stuff to them. Like, there's a merchant or something or other?
You can supposedly get one of the humans that you capture as like a merchant so you can actually interact
Huh.
with them. From what
Nope.
I understand. I don't play.
I've just been capturing random humans trying to find the one that's the merchant. I'm
Which one is the
becoming a
merchant?
slave plantation, I think. I need
So
to release them.
Divinity Original Sin 2, you were the drug lord, and here now you're
Exactly.
the slave king, or sorry,
I
queen.
just Yes, I'll take either. I just keep trying to find the one that's the merchant. I don't wanna keep them. I just want the one that's the merchant. I just want that one to work with me. I'll pay him. I can never find them to sell shit to. But yeah.
Rain, or sorry, at Rain. Elsa having plant-based magic is something that has only been shown tied to the elves. So she would have to have some kind of elven background for her to be able to pull off the plant-based magic. So I don't I don't know if that will come up at all. So what is Jay? Oh, look at that. He posted my Patreon link for people. That is the first chapter of Heavenly Chaos is up there. You don't have to be a subscriber or follower, I think Patreon calls it now. If you're not paying money, you're just following along for whatever free content is there. Um, but the first chapter is up for the public, so you can go and at least read the very first chapter of Heavenly Chaos if you want. Andy is going to narrate it. It is being pushed out through Podium, though, not through me and her. I want to see what they can do with a fresh series, um, and see if the feedback off of it is worthwhile. For those wondering, yes, it will be harem. It'll be a very, very limited harem. It is set in stone. I will not let my characters deviate. I will push them into a fire if they try. I have totally rewritten one book once in my lifetime to make the character fit the fucking mold, which was Apocalypse Gates. I will do it again if I need to. Um, so it should be a very small harem. Um, the first book will be coming out. I have written through the first two. For those people who are looking for sexy times, I can guarantee you will not find them in the first two books. And there are reasons for that, and you will figure it out when you read them. There. My PSA for everyone. the Disney ideology. Milk the cash cow until it's dead, then milk the zombie cow. Keep writing it until it stops making money. And I had somebody ask me, I think it was on Facebook the other day, well, if Aethers is your best-selling series, why don't you just write Aethers? Because, apparently a big Aethers fan, and I'm totally fine with that. As I replied to the individual, over the 7-something years I've been writing, I have found that rotating series works best for me. It keeps me sane and healthy and moving forward. So I will continue to rotate my series through. That does mean in some cases we come across something like Resurrection Quest, which we try not to talk about, which died its inglorious death with book one. Or we end up with a series that ends a little sooner than we'd like with Dungeon Walkers. But in the other cases, we get the full series that you know and love, like we did with Binding Words and Alpha World. So it is very much a hit or miss. But yes, the regular corporate ideology of run the horse into the ground and then beat it until it's dead is very much something that is a thing. It will not be for me. I closed all my comments out. That was very stupid of me. I need to put those back up. I won't. I have a story that I set out to write with every book series, and I won't deviate from that. Which is why when people ask me about doing like short stories following the younger trio when they were, had their posting at River Rock, and Nessa was trying to learn from Brown to be a cook, and Daciana was learning to be a smith with Micklin and whatnot. That's not the story that's in my head. I follow Gregory. Gregory is the one that the story is following in my head, so that's who I have to follow. I could attempt to do those things. I think it would feel forced though, and then you wouldn't enjoy it, and then you might hate more things if I did. So, and Andy has told me she's going to have to leave soon-ish. So before she goes, I want to touch back on the earlier concept that I had talked about, which was imposter syndrome, Andy, because it's something that I go through every time I publish a book. Every single time, guys. Even though I know it's going to do well, I know Aethers is going to sell well. It will not hurt me. It won't. Aethers is beautiful. And yet still when I published book 8, my head says the same thing. This is going to be the book where they all say they hate you and they leave.
Yeah.
This is going to be the book where they walk away. And you're going to have to go back and try to get a 9-to-5 job, probably in a kitchen again somewhere, working for assholes you don't want to work with.
Yep.
So
you're irrelevant. Everything's passing you by. You're not good enough. You're not fast enough because you can't keep up. Everyone's ahead of you. And this is going to be the time when they figure out that you've been lying this entire time and faking it somehow. Or you're only good because it's a small community. You're only good because it's a niche genre. You're only good because it's audiobooks. Or you're only good because there's always a qualifier for something that has no other basis. Like, it's not like I think audiobooks are lesser. It's not like I think
I would really hope that you don't feel that way.
Yeah, right? Like, that'd be insane. I love audiobooks. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It's just it's that propensity to like take whatever you're a part of and somehow downplay its value for no reason. And you only downplay it for yourself. If someone were to say that about themselves that's also in your career, you'd be like, no, you stop that. Why would you say that? But for you, it's like, yeah, you're a piece of garbage.
So
you are actual burning trash. Congratulations.
Pulling a name just out of the ether, like Steve Campbell. If he came to you and said, "Yeah, Andy, I'm terrible at this," you would not let him get away with that.
Hell no. We've had hours-long conversations with that kind of thing. Like, he and I are buds, so it's
But when you say that about yourself,
I'm completely correct, and how dare you question me?
And I understand. So I have been told by people with who I feel are smarter than me, that I am a good writer, and I am one of the best in my limited genre of like harem and stuff, and they tell me these things, and I look at them and go, "You're talking about somebody else."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, objectively, somewhere in my head, I'm like, "Dude, take the compliment. You can. Yeah. It's okay. You can take this. He's right. You are decent. People enjoy what you write. Look at all the fans who show up for your live chats or your Discord server, the Facebook, or check your blog post or leave reviews or any of those things. That is all positive affirmations, mostly outside of the reviews. Let's I try not to talk about those. Those are positive affirmations. These are things that prove that yes, the voice in your head that tells you your shit is actually wrong.
That
It
is
is the evil goose that
quantifiable
is
evidence. Yeah.
it is the evil goose that is just yonking away in your head, trying to drown out anything positive in your life. And yet, as much as I know this, as much as I tell Andy on a daily basis, Andy, you're amazing. I love everything you've ever done in audio for me. Outside of being my friend, as a business partner, I've loved absolutely everything. And I tell her that. And yet, right there with that smile, she's like, uh huh, uh huh. You know, he's only lying to you. That's what's going on in her head. And I understand that 100%. So
Yep.
for those people who wonder, if you do approach me and say, dude, I really love your books, if you see me in person and you do this, the look on my face is normally like, huh, okay. Because
Yeah.
I there's a
Excuse me.
disconnect. So
Yeah, and there's a
I
weird, like, fear of accepting the validation as well, I think, too. Because what feeds into it for me is the idea that if I you wouldn't be writing if you didn't have a certain level of confidence in yourself. I wouldn't be narrating if I didn't have a certain level of confidence in myself. But that said, it's fragile. I'm not allowed to have it. How dare I believe that? And I have to make sure that I bring myself down all the time because otherwise Icarus flies way too close to the sun and wings are made of wax. So you keep yourself humble, you beat yourself down, you just beat yourself to hamburger and then you won't fly too close to the sun and burn yourself and come crashing down. And it's this very unhealthy view to have,
very,
but
very unhealthy.
it's so bad because it's like if I believe that I'm good, if I believe that I've done something right, if I believe that I'm okay at this, if I believe that I'm capable, then somehow the universe is going to strike me down for believing in myself.
Part of it
I have
part of it
mental
maybe
issues are weird.
mental issues are very weird. Part of it for me is more the fact that everyone who was ever successful when I was like growing up, the successful people were assholes. Like
Yeah.
everyone I knew who was well off, who was successful, they were just a dick, and I never wanted to be that guy. I
Nope.
can't. But people are like, yeah, I know I'm one of the best writers in the world. It's okay. I never want to be that guy. And I think part of that fear is just if I'm shit, then I'll never be that guy. So it's
Yeah.
like I said, it's like Andy said, it's a weird mental break. This is why when people ask me, dude, you must be amazing. You know, Aether's hit 45 and on the Kindle chart for new releases. You know, overall in the store, not even the niche genre that I write
That's
in.
so good.
And it's
Congratulations. I'm so happy for you.
and you know what? I am proud of that. Part of me is very proud of that. And at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but the next book's not going to be.
Yep.
The next book is never going to be that. You know the funny
Yep.
thing about that whole sequence though, I was feeling good about things like okay maybe maybe I'm okay with this whole writing thing, and then I wrote Resurrection Quest,
Yep. Yep.
and that just reaffirmed my belief that I really am shit.
Yep.
And then of course since Resurrection Quest bombed, I need the next new series had to come out, and that was Aethers, which is quantifiably my best selling series. Period. Full stop.
Yep.
Book by book comparison because I've written through 8 now. I've published through 8, which is the longest of well, I had been the longest of my finished series until Binding Words finished at 11. Book by book, it demolishes every other series I've ever written. Overall, competitively, book 8 through Aethers has outdone all 11 books of Binding Words. But that came right after the fall of Resurrection Quest.
Yeah.
So as much as I'm like, yay, I did really good with this series, at the same time I look about why it's there,
Yeah.
and it's like, ooh, you know, the next one is gonna be that same thing, and you're gonna realize that no.
Yeah. It's not as direct on my side because I'm not writing the words. There's if I get a number 1, I don't read reviews myself anymore because I don't have the mental fortitude for it. I just don't.
Hmm.
It once your books reach a certain level of popularity and stuff and you get a certain level or you get a certain number of reviews, you will ignore every positive review that has ever been written and you will hone in on that one person that called you trash. And then you will dwell on that one person that called you trash for the rest of the day, especially if what they said was somewhat accurate. But there's a thing that happens in like the reviews and the feedback cycle for narrators, it's all kind of mixed with the book writing, so it's not as direct of an effect for us. Like it doesn't have the same immediate punch impact for me. I get it when like I get word back from an author that they lost money or if they didn't do well with a book, because that means my partnership failed. My side of things failed for them, that I didn't do a good enough job on the book, so the book didn't sell. I know that's not fully accurate. Markets are markets, but that's how I feel. So I don't have it as direct as you do when it comes to like releases, because I stay away from reviews now and stuff. But Hayes
I,
checks them
I
for me and
I
filters.
mostly stay away from them. When the book first comes out, the first week. So Aethers just came out. Been just over a week. I keep an eye on just to make sure reviews are coming in. I try my very best not to
Yep.
look at them, especially when I see the 2 and 3 star reviews hit, because I have, like you said, it's that bad habit of seeing that negative and then that being what is in your head. And no matter I have 1 2 star review and I have 206 5 star reviews, it's that 1 2 star that's gonna just stick in there, and the goose is
Yeah.
gonna be like, yonk.
And not healthy either. It's not in a good way. It's not in like
No.
a, "Oh, I'm learning from this" way. It's from a question yourself literally every time you write a sentence way, where you're just
Is
sitting there going, "No, that's too derivative. I've got called on that before. That sounds too much like the other person because the other person said it this way, so I can't say the same thing. Somebody said that thing about I always use this phrase, so I should probably stay away from that phrase." If you listen to me record, you hear it. Like, you hear me sitting there going, people are going to give me shit about that voice because it's too high pitch, it's too sharp. People aren't going to like that, or I got shit for that accent. I'm not going to do that anymore. But like I'll sit there milling on that one thing. I think I got helped earlier later last year. I was on Reddit and I looked on the Lit RPG forum, and there was a post, there was an entire thread that was just called the annoying laugh of Andrea Parsnow or something like that. Like, it was like Andrea Parsnow's irritating laugh or something like that was the name of the fucking thread. And I was like, "Oh great, what the hell did I do now?" So I clicked on it, and it's somebody going, I don't hate her. She's really not, like, she seems like a cool person and stuff, but I cannot stand how much she laughs. It drives me absolutely crazy, yada yada yada. And not mean necessarily, just kind of like expressing an opinion harshly. It is what it is. That's okay. It doesn't really bug me, honestly, on that front. What helped me on top of that was then the flood of comments that followed that, because this is Reddit, not Audible, where no one can respond. And it's a bunch of people going, "What the hell are you talking about? That's my favorite part. I love that it sounds like people are actually talking to each other and laughing and interacting. Why would you hate that? That doesn't make any sense." And so everything was balanced out. There were like 2 people that agreed and then 15 people that disagreed. And I sat there going, "Son of a bitch, that would have been a review that I would have sat there beating myself up
Uh-huh.
over and never seen the other reviews, never
But
seen the other responses going, 'Shut up, that's not right.'" Like, "What are you
but
doing? That's
at the
what?"
same time, that
Still
like I said,
valid.
she laughs. I said those laughs are put in normally because the author says so and so laughed.
Yeah. There is a tenant, I will say, to defend that person and kinda defend other narrators that don't do that. That's a general consensus, is that you're not supposed to groan, laugh, sigh, cough, whatever the narrative text says. You're supposed to kinda let the narrative text carry that load, and then you just act as if you did that thing. You don't actually cough, you don't actually laugh. I just disagree with that, so I don't do that. But it
Should
is,
totally
like,
laugh that
what they
guy.
tell you, or, like, that's a, like, an old best practices thing, or, like, something that a lot of people really strongly believe in. You will be taught that by a coach, is what I mean. Like, there are
Yeah,
coaches that will teach you that,
I,
so
I, I will understand that, and I will
yeah.
100% disagree with that, because if I listen to normal coach advice and stuff, I don't write.
Yeah.
The style I write in, no, no
Yeah.
publisher before I proved that I had fans. No publisher would have picked up my stuff.
Yeah.
They're not concise stories. They're slow. They're pedantic. They crawl. There's not enough action. These are all the things that I would hear if I went through like a traditional publisher and listened to normal writing advice. And you know what? fuck it, works for me.
Yeah.
So as I always tell people who ask me, well, I've been thinking about writing. Find what works for you. You can go
Yeah.
out and listen to advice from 500 different people about how you're supposed to do the craft, but really, it's what works for you. What helps you get the words down?
Yeah.
Because the first thing you always have to do is finish the story.
Yeah. I
Lots
will
of
say
people
there's a
start a book, very few finish a book.
amen to that. I will say there's a tiny bit more structure in the narrative world in the sense that there's a lot of equipment to buy. There's a
Hmm.
lot of things to get. Like there are best practices that exist for kind of a reason. So what I always advise people is learn what those best practices are, hear them out, and then decide not to do them if you don't want to. Like just understand where they come from and decide whether or not you're willing to make that choice that's going to possibly cause you problems, i.e., using your real name the entire time you narrate and never filtering with a pseudonym, even if it has sexual content. It's going to cause you some issues later on because there's going to be people who come across stuff that they didn't expect to come across. But ultimately, I stand behind my decision because it catapulted my name faster because I was working on stuff that I worked hard on and I wanted to stand behind what I was doing.
I
Plus, I
will.
have a lot more liberal view on that, so I don't
Well,
I
I was
don't
about to say, I will. I
sex
will.
positive.
I will throw from the author side of that. I know authors who use pen names. They use
Yep,
pseudonyms because they needed to or wanted to offset
yep,
what they are with who they are.
yep,
When I started, it was fuck it, this is my story. I am
yep.
always going to be proud of what I wrote, even if other people look at me like I'm fucking crazy.
The
Um,
same thing. Just it was narration. Fuck it. I'm proud of what I narrated, even if you think it's dirty.
now I do know an author who works in a secure workspace
Yeah,
for
that's different.
agencies that would very much take a dim view and would break contracts for how that person could be perceived. You need a pseudonym. That is
Yes.
100% understandable. Do what you have to do. But for me,
Yes.
literally, I was a cook and then I worked for the county doing paperwork in a jail. If anyone came to me and went, how could you write about multiple women all loving one man? I'd be like, dude, you don't know me. If you knew me, you would never ask me that question.
Yeah. Like it was I completely understand. I even understand it when people just have really conservative families or
Mhm.
they're teachers or something like that in their off time and heaven forbid somebody like who's a teacher gets caught writing harem. Oh my gosh. So it's a there's just there's so much in this world that isn't fair that I
Mhm.
totally understand it when people need to use a pseudo. But for me, I'm a rebellious shit. I will make bad decisions purely because I wanna be rebellious, and I
She will.
don't I try to rebel responsibly, you know, and
She does.
respectfully, but it's a I didn't care. Like, I didn't care. I'm very who I am, and I wanted to be honest with that, and I didn't have anything to lose like a lot of people did.
Mhm.
Like, my mom's my editor. I'm not real super close like, I'm close with my sister, she doesn't give a crap, and I'm not super, super close with the rest of my family. So, it's a like, if they had a problem with it, they don't yeah, it's not gonna bug them. I'm not in their radar, so it doesn't matter.
Well, so my mother's here in chat. My sister and family, they all read my
Exactly.
books. And you know what? If I had, even if my sister came to me and spouted off at me of how dare you, my life, and if you have a problem with that, don't talk to me.
Yeah,
And as much as that would hurt, I'm not about to change me just because you are offended. If you're
yeah,
offended, you're offended. I am not going to completely change who I am to suit you.
yeah.
So, and
My yeah.
if that means family gets upset, then family gets upset. People have to make their choices in life. And if it's not family and it's just some random person who's going to come up and yell in my face about how you dare you do this,
Yeah. Like, that's it. Like, yeah, I did Frank said, "Man, your family's cool, Andy." I do have a really cool family. So it makes it a lot easier, and it really does come down to just a if somebody is going to judge you, harshly for what you have done or what you've put out there and wanna give you crap for it, as long as it's not somehow, like, hurting someone else or something like that, I don't need you I don't need it
well,
then. I'm good. It's okay. I'm not hurting you by existing and you're not hurting me. So we don't have to
so
cross if it's gonna make you mad.
and yeah, when publicly here in a public forum that's going to be up on YouTube forever and ever because it's the internet. I want to thank you for all of the wonderful voices you've given to my many
Aw.
books and all the books you're going to be doing in the future because I will chain you to them as long as you let me chain you to them.
Thank you. It was
Um,
starting to sound like a memorial there for a second. Thank you.
and no, I want it stated that
That
you have never done anything in the narrations that I've had a problem with
Thank you.
outside of Beatty, Beatty, Eli.
Fucking real places, man. Real places get me every time. Son of
You
a bitch.
you
It's
did say you have to
narrators in general, man.
you did say you have to take off. Just to
I
reiterate for
do.
people who are here, you're doing Tower of Somnus 4 starting tomorrow,
Yes, yeah, we're starting tomorrow. I'm almost done. That's why I wanna get back to reading, so
and
I
then
have to get back to prepping.
when she's done with Tower of Somnus, she's supposed to roll into Aether's 8 for all of you
Aethers.
Rabid fans out there, and then she is rolling into the Wandering Inn 13, the search for more food. And then her schedule flexes because things happen. I don't know what the name of it is, but I think it's funny, and I'm going to keep doing that until someone corrects me. And Pirate is an amazing individual. I have never spoken to them in person, but I can 100% appreciate what they've done.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, and I say they because the gender idea of pirate
Yep.
is still 100% fluid.
100%. Don't know. Yep.
So nobody knows. So they, until I have been corrected by them or somebody who can speak for them. So
Yep. And they've been very public with they are not ever probably going to reveal that just because at this point it doesn't matter. So why does it no matter what, it would cause problems. Like
yes,
either
at this point, it
just
would upset somebody.
no matter which the answer is. Yep.
So Andy, thank you for coming. I do understand you have to dip. I am only going to be going for about another half an hour myself because I can smell dinner starting to cook. So I'm going to finish
Yay!
up with questions and stuff though. Possibility for you to join us next month on the 15th, just so it's
I
out
will
there
make it.
so you can think about it.
I will make every attempt.
Okay.
Excuse me, sorry. I always do. This is usually if I'm not if Daniel always invites me because he's a sweetheart. So it's a if I can't make it, it's usually something else is going on or I'm taxed out.
I invite you all the time because it's much
You do.
easier to talk with a friend and answer
I understand.
questions than it is to just answer questions.
I gladly that's what I know. I know it's just easier to bounce it off someone, so I don't mind showing up at all. Even if it's just to sit here and be a double.
But what a wonderful double she is. Bye, Andy.
Bye, everybody.
And so we will let her take herself away because she has that capability. And then there's only me. So I apologize for the fact that 99% of the beauty has just left this live chat, and you are left with just the beard. But that is what it is. And there's a cat going crazy on the chair near me. What makes Aether so good that it dominates everything else? I don't know, Swordman. It could. I don't know. If I knew, that'd be amazing. I mean, it's a fantasy series. Fantasy does normally beat out sci-fi. Just honestly, across the board, authors I've talked to, fantasy just does better. I don't know if there's any one thing that makes it better than everything else, though. I mean, it has close-ish themes to some of my others. It has, close tied kind of themes into some of my other stuff. It's cultivation, and I know that most people say cultivation for like other authors I've talked to is very hit or miss. So it's not the setting. I wish I knew. It could just be how humble Greg is. Sometimes people just want an honest to goodness, true, genuine good guy, without being the quote unquote good guy, which tag is now totally up in the air and is something else. DJ, do you ever write stuff and giggle madly, think about Handy's going to handle the names or what's happening? Not the names. I don't set out to give Andy trouble with names. I honestly don't. She has a lot on her plate, just trying to come up with the voices for the 800 characters in a series and having to deal with a whole new uh, government type or nation type. I mean, she's going to be doing book 8 of Aethers, which is Kraga, which is very Norse themed. She's going to have a whole lot of, quasi accents she has to pull out for that. And I mean, at least it's not the very close Lux voice, uh, accent thing she's got to work with. But it's still she's one person. She's gonna have to voice. Oh, I want to say it was 30 different Krogans that have speaking parts, and it's probably more than that. Um, so I mean, she's gonna have work cut out for her. I don't go out of my way to make things difficult for her. Um, Things that happen in the book, do I sometimes laugh? Not about Andy having to do them, but there are moments that I laugh about because I find them funny when I write them. Um, that don't happen very often. There are moments that I'm just like, this is too good. I cannot pass this. This is going to be included and it's going to be funny, and I hope other people get it. One of those moments is coming up in Heavenly Chaos. Um, yeah, I named some people specifically for reasons, and I hope people enjoy it. It's just funny to me, and I couldn't not do it. Once the thought entered my head, it was stuck. So, how much of a difference does it make between someone clicking 5 stars versus clicking and leaving a written review? How much is the actual? We don't know. Yeah. Amazon does not give you any hard information. They do not. We know, and especially since I think it was a year ago when they switched from reviews to just the star ratings. We have nothing that says exactly how things influence. We know that over 100 reviews used to push you forward. Whether that is still the case when it's just star reviews or written reviews, we think just I say we. I'm going just general me talking to other authors kind of thing. That the stars do work for that. Oh, he's had 100 reviews. We can push it more for the also bots, but we don't have any hard facts on it. Leaving a written review, even the 10-word minimum, I think it is to quote unquote validify, verify, validate the review, does help. I can 100% guarantee that a written review is better. If nothing else, because when people then go and say, "Oh, I want to look through these reviews," they can see that these are people who actually took the time to leave it. It wasn't just that I got to the end of it in the Kindle, hit the 5 stars, and then bypassed it. This is why I thank people for leaving reviews. I thank you for the stars too, guys. But if you took the 3 or 4 minutes while you were at your computer one day to pull up the book and leave a review, really, thank you. Especially in the first week a book comes out, that is when it matters the most to try to push it through the ranking system, because the higher it is in rankings and the more reviews it has, the more Amazon pushes it in other people's faces, going, hey, you might also like this, which is then more eyes on something, which does translate over. So I hope that answers your question. Amount of times I've heard about the nightmares of raw transcripts, I'm starting to wonder if Ogre just rolls on his keyboard and Sammy actually writes them. Sarcasm. I joke the fact that I basically just roll my face back and forth across the keyboard and let the words fall out of my ears. Um, so I appreciate the sarcasm. I do. Um, what my editors do, taking the rough script that I've put together with its wrong grammar and some of the spelling errors and whatnot, and turn it into something that people can read. Because what you guys get on Patreon has seen at least one rough pass. If it hadn't, if it hadn't, I would be fixing a lot more things in the background, because I know that I have people who'd be like, "Whoa, dude, fix this." And I still get them occasionally because the first pass didn't catch things, and I appreciate that. I will, if I see somebody in Patreon having left a, "Hey, did you mean this word instead of this word?" I will actually go to the editing document and open it up, go to that chapter, look for that word, and then figure it out. It doesn't do a whole lot for my editors, but I do try to take a little bit of the problems I've caused them back off their plate. And I am going to slowly try to get through more of your guys' questions and stuff. Will you ever do special edition hardbacks? I don't know. I know an individual who's been talking about like doing a Kickstarter quote unquote company to handle those kinds of moments, so I don't have to take time away from writing to like do that kind of thing. And it's somebody I personally trust. And if they do move forward with that concept, then possibly. Otherwise, no, because it means I have to go out, I have to find a company, I have to verify they're good, I have to go through quality control. That's all time away from what I want to do, which is just roll my face back and forth across the keyboard and let the words fall out of my ears. So possibly don't expect it. Short and long answers. So how big is your spreadsheet or equivalent on Aethers? I don't know off the top of my head, Frank. I want to say the average is like 30 to 50 names in any given book. We're through 8 books, so 240 to 400. You know what? I'm gonna go look. Hang on. I'm actually gonna go to my character sheets, to my Aethers. I need to put Binding Words over into the retired folder now. So through book 8, there were speaking parts. There were 349 characters. Book 8 had 310 to 349 had 39 newly named characters that had speaking parts that were enough that I noted them. So not just a yes sir from random soldier, but a speaking part that was enough that I decided I needed to include it because they might come back again at some point. So shopkeepers that will probably show up more than once. Ambassador, like an ambassador's driver who might show up again. These are names that I thought were important enough to mark down. So, and then because I am currently writing it, let's see, Lux voice to this point through the end of book 7. Well, say through the end of book 7, I had 289 named characters. So they do vary. But I do not have the character pool of the Wandering Inn. I know that, but even then, I feel like I stretch Andy sometimes just because that's a lot of voices. That is a lot of unique voices that she has to come up with for those characters. Like I said, she's gonna have, so what is that? 39. She's gonna have 39. Not all of those are Krogian. We're gonna say 30 of them are. She's gonna have 30 Krogian voices she has to come up with, right? 30 of them. And then she's got a couple of Lamaze that show up because of ambassadors. She's got an elf. There's at least one full-blooded ear tick. So yeah, there's going to be some stretch in there, which is fine. What was that? In my opinion, most series that try to push past 10 books start to drop in quality. I will say, MV, that most of that though is because those series are written as concise books, and most of the ones along those lines that I've read are like urban fiction romances, which means at some point you've seen things. That's my problem with ongoing series like that, is they seem to then like bring back the same theme again, even though it's, it happened 7 books ago. And I have a problem with that then. It's like this, she learned this lesson. Why did she not stay with having learned this lesson? I am gonna catch up and then have some tasty food. My girlfriend tonight is doing a pineapple garlic chicken, and it sounds amazing when she described it, and I can catch hints of it. So I am totally looking forward to what she's got going on. No idea what she's putting with it at the moment, but it sounded delicious and it kind of smells delicious. But it's not time yet because she hasn't told me, which means I can continue to ask questions. Uh, scroll down, scroll down, scroll down. It's one of the reasons I like having Andy here. Like I said, it helps with the whole bouncing. Basically, it's just two friends chatting and then throwing questions back and forth at each other. So it does for me. It makes live chats a whole lot easier, guys. I won't lie. I always feel like I'm wasting your time when I'm trolling through things, even with my mods to help find things for me to do. I found a random book called Collins Gem Dictionary of First Names. Has thousands of first names for male and female. You need help with new names. I have a big book of baby names, Brian. It's right here on my desk. I got it. I want to say it was somewhere in the middle of Binding Words originally. So I want to say it was like 2018 ish is when I got it for reasons I won't mention what those reasons might have been. Thank you, Too Tall. I appreciate that. Too, I really do appreciate that. I feel very awkward. I am very much an introvert, guys. Very much an introvert. It is very, very far outside of my comfort zone to talk to people. These stretch me. Um, I am normally mentally exhausted after live chats. Meeting people in person, I do my best to be personable, but at the same time, I am absolutely terrified. So I don't blame you. I wish I could become one with my pillow. That would be amazing. Uh, okay, read that. I read that. I am trolling through what you guys talked about like 20 minutes ago, and then also going back and hitting the starred questions that my moderator is softballing to me. So, have you ever written yourself into a problem or a situation where you go, "How the fuck do I get out of this?" No, because I just write what my characters tell me they've done. So once again, not really a problem. The only time I've come to that point was the original Apocalypse Gates one when Alvin decided he wanted to be a paladin instead of the lovable asshole he was supposed to be, and then I just wrote the book. I just rewrote the entire first book again to make him be the person he was supposed to be. And I wrote 8 really good books in that series, so I was happy with that. Yeah, I what the fuck, but I didn't panic over it. It was just like, okay, well, this is a thing. Let's move on with it. Uh, half of the DJ. So it would be the damn it Daniel, and then the other side rebel responsibly. I could see that. If I remember, I'll mention that to her because she was talking about possibly eventually one day getting a challenge coin made herself. I find it hypocritical. The society can accept a man with a mistress cheating on his wife, but throw a moral hissy fit that if both women know each other. Yes, yeah, yes, that is one of those things. Yeah, I figured. I'm going through and catching up and finishing off. I was aiming for 5, so my girlfriend's letting me know that dinner will be ready around 5 o'clock. So we have at most 20 minutes because I am not holding off food, guys. So I'm going to. That was Andy leaving. Okay. Are we sure Andy is just one person? Citation needed. She has occasionally opened up the video feed when she has recorded before Blatant. So reasonably sure. I haven't been there in person while she's recorded. I have not been in the booth with her while she's recorded, so I cannot 100% verify. That is something to consider. You enjoyed my live costs with or without Andy? I appreciate that, Jurgis. I hope I don't cost you too much, though. Most of them just come. Mom, that's Mother. Most of the character names come to me. Since you have asked, I don't often need the book. If I need the book, it's for an auxiliary character that, for whatever reason, is using their first name. I need to make sure that phrasing is good when answering questions from my own mother. Yes. Yes. Definitely. Okay, I've caught up. Guys, last questions and comments then. Since I've caught back up to rough chat, if you have any other last little tidbits, let's go ahead and get them in. Um, just so I can say that I answered your guys' things at the end of it. No, I don't think a damn it Hayes would work on the flip side of an Andy coin, Fat Man. I don't think that would. And Andy, I can't think of the number of times Andy has said that about Hayes. I know the number of times she said that about me and Will, though, has vastly exceeded any time she's damned Hayes for anything. Heavenly Chaos looks promising. Thank you for continuing the hard work you do. Thank you for being a reader and fan, Apollo. I really hope. I've had alpha readers who've told me they think it'll be my best selling series, as good as Alpha World, as good as Aethers. I hope that's true. There's a lot for Heavenly Chaos that I want to tell. Some of my beta readers for it put some things together early. Others missed some things, didn't quite connect dots, which is good. It means that it'll be a spectrum across the fandom. And some things nobody commented on at all through the Heavenly Chaos beta. So I really like the fact that I've snuck some things past my grouping. So um so since we seem to have run out of questions, everyone, and dinner is going to be soon, and you've all told me to go enjoy my food, I'm going to go ahead and do a sign off then. So thank you all for coming. This was the February 2024 live chat. I will be getting the names from my moderator for the people who joined in and helped extend things out and commented, questioned, and kept things rolling. I really appreciate that. Check your Twitch messages. It's the upper right hand corner. Looks like a little chat bubble. Check that tomorrow. I should have messaged everyone by tomorrow who has won, because I would really like to get those out to you in a timely fashion. So please do so. That does mean some of you need to make sure you have messaging turned on, because I have tried to message a couple of you before and got they don't accept messages from strangers. So I then had to pick somebody else in lieu of you because I couldn't message you. So there is that, ladies and gentlemen. If you would rather remain anonymous and not be contacted by me, that is entirely up to you. Just know that if I cannot send you that message, I will choose someone else. Okay. Next live chat will be March 15th, 6 p.m. Pacific, which is basically an hour from now next month. So there is that to look forward to, everyone. Until then, stay safe out there. The world is kind of nuts, and I will talk to you later. Bye.